reconsideration of the Roberts Bank Rail Corridor Partnership Heighton 64th Avenue Rail Overpass at Highway 10 project.
Mr. Bakken, just to clarify, we do not need a mover and a seconder for the motion to be on the table. That is on the table as we speak.
That's
so
correct.
It's really an item we're open for discussion, debate, and voting.
That's correct, Your Worship. The process begins with the motion having the effect of being moved and seconded. That is the effect because of the Mayor's requirement for reconsideration. So it is now to the Mayor to begin the process.
Thank you. My reason for bringing the Mumford Crescent Diversion Project back for reconsideration through Section 131 of the Community Charter was to ensure all members of Council had sufficient time to weigh all the material, both presentation and argument, on both sides of the issue. It is also important, in my opinion, that a vote of such significance take place in a regular televised meeting of Council, not in an afternoon session where many residents would not have had the opportunity to listen to the debate firsthand. This Mumford Crescent Diversion Project speaks to a very serious fundamental issue that runs very deep in terms of our governments, both provincial and municipal's lack of understanding and willingness to embrace, communicate, and listen to their taxpayers. We are told that this project has been on the drawing board for years. If that is the case, and I seriously question the truth behind that, it makes this project and issue in the community that much more serious. How is it possible that this has been planned for years and was going to be dropped on our unsuspecting taxpayers without so much as a mail out, just a shovel in the ground in February of this year? It is interesting what happens to a government after 9 years under no perceived threat of change. A certain arrogance takes over that causes some elected officials to believe they know best what is in the best interest of the Township of Langley. Well, I don't believe your elected representatives, absolutely including yours truly, are any smarter than any of you, nor do we have all the answers. Hopefully we can use our street smarts, experience, and common sense to meet your expectations. This is our responsibility. This issue has raised the ire of residents of the township, nothing that I have seen in my 12 years in the township, and I don't believe the wrong decision will be forgotten anytime soon. The issue of solving the intersection problems at Mufford and Glover is nothing new. It's been an issue for years. The concept design that has been drawn up privately behind closed doors within the bureaucracy, the Mayor's office, and shuffled off to the Agricultural Land Commission to solve that problem is new. I have talked to more independent contractors and engineers about this issue than I care to think about. And nobody to this point has been able to explain the rationale for this proposed road and overpass network. Remember, we are not talking whether we should build an overpass. This project just doesn't make any logical sense to anything that would be in the best interest of the township's quality of life. In answer to those that suggest that it's in the best interest of the majority of the township by solving traffic congestion and traffic flow, and that we don't want to leave $50 million on the table, it's very difficult to know where to start in response, but here it goes. The intersection at Mumford and Glover could be solved as simple as a solution to limit traffic flow to right in and right out, or to a much less expensive acceptable overpass solution. Solving traffic flow and congestion problems, sending 500 cars an hour, dissecting hundreds of acres of the most prime farmland in the Fraser Valley, making much of it unfarmable onto narrow two-lane farm roads cannot be rationalized regardless of how hard you try. A new east-west corridor. I defy anyone to explain how this will serve as a new east-west corridor. Given the most recent highway expansion projects, both completed and planned, i.e. 176 expansion to 4 lanes, connecting and being promoted as a connector between Highway 1 and the number 10 highway and the Golden Ears Bridge, and the South Fraser Perpetual Road will serve as a better conduit for traffic, taking some considerable congestion off our roads.
No, it won't.
The preliminary design for the Mumford Crescent Diversion will serve as nothing more than a road and overpass to nowhere, which will serve to do nothing more than ruin hundreds of acres of farmland, change the valuable character of our community forever, and send cars in a direction they are not interested in going. $50 million on the table. When are we going to find the strength and the will to stand up for ourselves and say no? We will participate if the project makes sense for the township. It is not the taxpayers' fault, nor is it this council's fault, for that matter, that the funding partners have been sold a bill of goods in terms of its false claims of this project's acceptability to the community. The only thing that would be worse than what has gone on leading up to tonight would be accepting this project based on this flawed communication. The cost to the Township of Langley is significant. It is one thing to move forward with a borrowing on a capital project that will deliver our community significant benefits. It's quite something else to face the $700,000 plus cost per year in interest to the taxpayer for 20 years, which equates to a 1% tax increase per year for 20 years on a project that doesn't serve our community well. In closing, I have to admit, I just don't get it. For the life of me, I cannot understand the rush or the willingness to approve a project filled with so many questions. A project that has been designed and approved behind closed doors out of sight of the community and members of council. The public forums they claim to have held were only to deal with the rail corridor study, not in any way to deal with the design or consideration of options to be considered for an overpass or a roadway. Unfortunately, we didn't need to get to where we are at today. If those responsible had been directed to a process of true public input and consultation, we wouldn't have a project before us that can only serve to cause so much concern to so many. In closing, I will repeat something I said in an earlier statement on this project. I will remind those that are old enough to remember the old freeway proposal along the waterfront of the city of Vancouver. That decision was absolutely instrumental to what Vancouver has become today. It is the most livable city in the world. I urge all members of the Township of Langley Council to make the right decision for the Township of Langley, for the residents, for the farming community, and for our quality of life. Defeat this proposal and go back to the drawing boards.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to thank all of the speakers who took the time to talk to us this evening, and I especially want to thank each and every person who is in this chamber tonight. This is the third time you have come and talked to us to tell us what you think about this proposal. You have attended open houses, you've sent letters, you've signed petitions, you've even offered alternate designs, and your passion about this issue is very humbling indeed. And I just wanted you to know that I think you're what makes this community so special. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Any other comments from members of council? Councillor Dornan.
I do want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. The Mufford Grove Overpass project is a major decision for this council, one that is passionate on it for individuals on either side of the question. I don't think I've ever had such an important decision to make, and I have lost many hours of sleep considering all the options.
I passionately want to pave.
I know there are pros and cons from either side of the argument, but what it comes down to is what in the long-term best interest, in my opinion, for the whole community. The major issues I've considered were safety and the heavy rail expansion, the need for expanded capacity and connectivity to our transportation network, the population increase over the next 20 years that are anticipated for Langley, the needs of all the population of Langley, the concerns of the farmers and residents of the Milner area, the ability of the farmers to continue with their way of life and ability to access their farms safely, and the heritage aspects of the valley. Regarding the ridding of Langley of heavy rail is an issue that we need to work on and towards, and I would be there to advocate for this outcome, now and into the future. This is a goal that all the municipalities of the valley need to push for. Building a transportation network that provides increased capacity and connectivity forms part of an overall transportation plan with the other municipality and serves this community going forward as the population increases by the projected 65,000 in the next 15 years. It's of major importance. I feel this overpass serves that purpose and provides the safety the community needs. I've attended all the open houses and public meetings and listened to all the proposals and the concerns of the residents. I'm very aware of the concerns and realize that if this project goes through, there will be an impact on the area. I have concerns that need to be addressed regarding the plans for 64th and 216th, but the safety needs of the farmers to access their properties. These needs seem to be highlighted with the amendments at the last council meeting. The Agricultural Land Commission has assured me that the land will remain in the ALR and be available for farming into the future. I've also sought advice outside of staff with reputable infrastructure planners with regards to the project, its goals of connectivity and capacity, and they have come back with a positive response. I cannot say that this decision is black and white. It most definitely is not. I also know that I have to think of the big picture and what is in the interest, in my opinion, of the whole community going forward into the next 20 years. With that in mind, I'm going to support it.
Member of Council willing to want to speak?
Come on, Bateman.
Seeing none, the question, Mr. Brockman, the question before us is the same question that was at the last meeting, which is to adopt, the question is in the affirmative, those willing to adopt the preliminary plan?
That's correct, Your Worship. The motion is to adopt.
So the motion is to adopt. Those in favor of adoption of the preliminary plan? Those opposed?
Shame!
Preliminary plan.
Shame on you!
Is accepted.
Shame on you!
Mr. Bachman, next item, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The next item is on page 3 of the agenda, and it's bylaws for first and second reading.
Thanks very much. Shame!